Hi guys! Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. Today we are missing a Joe, as you can see. I have a bunch of other guests here with us, some of whom have been here before, some who I don't know if they have been on the talking side of this show. Has anyone not been on the talking side?
Me?
That's what I thought. You for sure.
I don't think
I've
I've been on
in
the talking
chat,
side
but
either.
not talking.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys are all my co-hosts today, so you're all in charge, and I'm just gonna step back as the host and say, executive decision. You guys got this. All right. Go ahead.
One Joe.
All right.
You're
Have fun,
leaving
guys. Enjoy. Enjoy the spotlight. Anyone want to do the opener? I mean, you've heard it a million times, so go for it. You want to do my? You want to do our disclaimers and all that, and tell them what the show's about? No one? Perfect. I'll do it then. Okay, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we talk about whatever issues or problems you are facing in this life, in this beautiful life. It can be hard sometimes. It can be filled with tragedy or troubles or just things that knock you off your horse when you least expect it. And so we're here to maybe help you go through that journey with someone, with a friend, with some guidance, with a little bit of wisdom from someone else's life. We aren't professional psychologists or psychiatrists or police officers or anything, except for maybe some of you guys might be professionals in some areas. I'm a professional musician. With us, we have students and people of other degrees, I suppose, of professions. But yeah, none of us are psychiatrists, or therapists or whatever. So if at any point in time, I guess it should be known that we aren't a substitute for such activities. We're here for entertainment and health purposes only. So with that out of the way, if you want to submit a topic, please go to don'tworrywednesday.com and we would love to have you. Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. So many of you. And it's really nice to be doing this show with you guys. So thanks for stepping up to the plate and coming on board. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, please do. I think that would be good. So start with, I guess, Selborn, if you want to go start and then kind of just go left to right or down the line or however you guys want to do it.
Okay. All right. My name's Caleb. I am a graphic designer. I love to help people. I guess you could say I have a high degree of empathy or something like that. But
yeah,
that's just the basics.
That was actually a great intro. I mean, I completely agree. I would completely agree with that because your name is Caleb, and that's true. Yeah, you do have a pretty good amount of empathy. That's for sure. I see you helping people all the time. You're awesome. So, completely agreed. All right, what about you, B. By the way, why is everyone's name I tried to find people to add to this call, and everybody's name right now is just their first character with a ... Is that on my end, or is that everyone's changing their name?
I think that's on your end.
Really?
B is the only one that I see the ... with.
I don't see any ...
Okay, not everybody, but there's an M ... that also requested to join. I gave them the link to join, so they'll join later. They're just going to be a little bit late. There's B ... There's W ... There's a D ... There's a P ... Everybody else has regular names, but I'm going down my list of friends. C ... G ... J. But everybody else is normal.
The B is me, but
yeah, is yours B ... legitimately, or is it on my end?
And I think you're in streamer mode on Discord.
Yeah.
That hides other people's names because, if you're streaming and your screen is being shared,
yeah,
it makes sure everything is confidential. So,
well, that's interesting because, for example, right here we have Koyama Lily, Celeborn Dynamite, Wolfrix, but the only one
I'm
that's
on streamer mode too.
oh. So it's anybody who's on streamer mode is also okay. Their name is hidden. Interesting. Okay. Well, thanks. That's just a weird thing. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Yeah. Would you mind introducing yourself? B. ...
Well, I'm Baka. I am the box on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken 1 year in law enforcement, so I have a little bit in psychology and human interaction. Otherwise, I've been here for about 3 years now.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. There's a bunch of Joes. You guys are all Joe today. So, because you're in his spot and I didn't change the name on the stream. So it just says Joe.
Wait, we're all Joe?
Yeah, you're all Joe. Sorry about that.
Oh no, what are we gonna do?
Have fun. Good luck. You can just be angry. No, I'm kidding. He's not that angry. Sometimes he gets angry though. But he's really nice when he's angry. He's like super nice. All right. What about you? I'm gonna give it to you, Koyama Lily.
Hi everyone, my name's Haley. I'm currently a junior majoring in biochemistry. I work in a research lab. I also have an advanced EMT license, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I just enjoy helping people. So
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I've known you for a really long time, and it's always been a blessing. And it's really cool that you are in bio because that's all of us. Biochemistry, we're all made of that. So that's a pretty cool. What do you call that? Career path. Lastly, Wolfrix, would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
I'm Wolfrix, or you can call me Wolf. My ambition is to help people that are having a hard time with comedy, or to make them find a way out of the bright future and hopefully don't lose faith in humanity as I have.
Yeah, well said. I mean, for sure. I mean, it can be hard sometimes to keep faith in humanity, as any one person can destroy that for you if it's bad enough. So yeah, I actually think that's really great. I think to live a life that inspires other people and restores faith to humanity, I think it's a great idea. Because without that, who's gonna fight for us? I think we need all the help we can get in that regard. So that's awesome. Cool. Well, that's everybody.
With the longest distance self.
Yeah. That's everybody. So you guys can all have a great day, and thanks for joining us on Don't Worry Wednesday. No, no. Well, let's get into it. By the way, thank you everybody else who's in the chat: August, Marhande, Saule, Meow, and Nyansai, and everybody else that is lurking or just hasn't said anything yet. Hey Zach, you as well. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. It's always such a blessing to be able to do this show and to just be with you guys. So thank you. I'll do my best to read chat, though I'll be juggling a lot today. But I'm going to do my best to read it and interact the best I can. But moving on from that, I'm going to go ahead and figure out our first topic. For people who are here, Marhandi, we have one from you that's titled, I need a break. Sorry, in need of a break is what it's titled. Would you mind me or us handling it for you? At least giving it our best shot? Let me know. In the meantime, I'm just going to pretend you already said yes so I can set it up. Because that's what we do. By the way, has it been laggy for anybody? How about you guys? Anybody?
I think it's all good on my end.
Okay. He said,
It's pretty good here too.
okay, cool. But it's a bit rough, so maybe not if y'all aren't fans of that type of stuff. Oh no, it's okay. There's nothing that we won't handle. I'm sure. Well, I mean, nothing that we won't cover. Haley's aware of it. Okay. Well. As long as you don't mind too much, I think we'll give it our best. And if we don't cover it well enough, you can, well, you can always ask for more or add input in the chat for us. It's always helpful.
Or well, to next week when Joe's back.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put the topic on the screen. I'm gonna read it out loud, and yeah, then we'll do our best here. Again, this is from Marhandi. It's titled "In Need of a Break," and it reads as follows: I want a break. This is a copy from an old help me in the Discord from last year. It's just resurfacing. Exponential doesn't envelop this phantom pain. It's gone beyond logic. The only thing really preventing me now is the fact that I'm too lazy to follow my own motivation. I'm not actively avoiding situations either. I want something to break. I desire it to break. I need something to break. It's even getting to the point where I'm feeling rings of where I could fantasize my body breaking in any way, most concerning of which being the burning sensation in my neck, but most powerfully below my right shoulder, and then again above my right ankle. This is a plea for help. I'm tired and want a break. I will take a break even if I must break first. Since making this post, it's been over a year, and life has both changed tons and not at all. The advice I have been given was seek online help and to avoid my parents, move out, etc. I have been unable to make use of the advice given to me, not that I fully believe all of it given to me, as I have been to a counselor on campus, and that didn't feel like it went anywhere. And with what I've found online, being too aware and understanding what your problem is. Hold on, let me reread that. Sorry. It's a little difficult because I didn't pre-read this. I'm gonna highlight it so I can find my lines here. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start from here. I've been to a counselor on campus, and that didn't feel like it went anywhere. And with that, I have found online being too aware and understanding what your problem is, and I do believe I understand my issue, and that the solution would be to find some nice alternative to keep my mind off the things, such as more exercise, writing, taking up a hobby that I have no experience with. Really, this is just me ranting and venting out some of my frustrations, and want either to be told genuinely and earnestly that what I want can and will come, and to believe so. Okay, what I want can and will come, and to believe so. Which is most likely why I want to be in such a condition that I'm indisputably in a state in which the only action I have is to rest and be supported. Wow, from Marhandi. Yeah, I can definitely see why you were saying this is kind of it's a, I guess, dark and troubling one. It's a bit of a tough one, and I agree. This is definitely a tough one. Having the desire for something to break in such a way that you can physically, sort of feel the sensation, or a sense of heat around those objects, all sort of in the sense of wanting to be destroyed so that you have no ability to do anything at all, so that you can rest and be supported by others. I think, if I'm understanding that correctly, yeah, that is quite the place to be in. That's quite the experience, and something that I mean, I would definitely first off say maybe seeing a therapist, right, is my best answer right off the bat, just because obviously I don't have the experience of being in your place. And so I'm going to start with that. But of course, you said that you've sought online help, some counseling, and so on and so forth. And I get that, sometimes you run into dead ends on those roads. Sometimes you try those roads and they just don't work out. Doesn't mean that it's the wrong road, but maybe just the individual paths taken to get there weren't the right ones. Like maybe they're just not the right people to talk to, or the right environments to be in. And that's what I like. Neonsai said something I agree with, and I like completely different environment and surrounding can absolutely help and change how you feel about yourself and the world around you, and just change everything. But finding that and creating that for yourself isn't always easy. Actually, it's not easy at all. And to create that environment requires a lot of strong will on your part to be that environment first, and then kind of incur other people along the way. But there's a lot that we can touch on here, and I'd like to sort of get get answers from the other people that are with me to see how they feel about this topic and their thoughts, their immediate thoughts on it. Especially Koyama Lily, you said, or Marhandi said that you've interacted with this topic before. This is a year standing, so definitely some breakthroughs would be really great. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it to you guys. Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely talked with Marhandi about this before. And as you mentioned, my first instinct would be to say that seeking counseling or therapy of some kind would be helpful. I do understand it's frustrating when you go and it doesn't seem to make a difference. One thing I've always heard is if you don't click with a therapist, that's okay. You're not going to click with everyone, so sometimes it's important to keep trying until you find the one that's right for you. So I think that's one thing to keep in mind, is just because it doesn't help the first time doesn't mean there's no one who can help. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding the person who can help. It's like when you have friends, you're not going to mesh with every person. So you have to find the therapist that you're going to get along with. But also, I don't think wanting a break itself is bad. I definitely have times when I start feeling overwhelmed and want a break, especially with my major being challenging. I understand how overwhelming it can get, but it's definitely not healthy to want to break yourself. So I think trying to work through that mindset and get to a point where you can feel, I guess, safer with yourself and not have a desire to break would be important. Surrounding yourself with friends that can love and care for you would be a good way to start. Sometimes when we have a hard time caring for ourselves, it's helpful to have people around us that can help care for us and remind us that we are valuable and worthwhile. And sometimes even just having that is, it's a good way to find the break you need.
Yeah, that's good input. I can agree with that. Anyone else have anything they want to say to start out with? If not, that's okay.
I have
Yeah,
learned.
go ahead.
I've learned this. It is okay to be selfish. Give yourself a break if you need it. Selfish is bad. You know yourself the longest. You owe yourself the most. Be selfish. It's okay to judge you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely a degree of taking care of yourself. Selfish is a weird word because we immediately think of putting yourself before others in a way that's destructive to others. So I think, as a little bit of a caveat, I don't think that you mean to hurt others by being so self-absorbed that you're completely ignoring the damage you're doing to other people, of course. But yeah, everybody needs to focus on themselves and give themselves a break every once in a while. You know, we're not machines. We're human beings, and we require care, including care from ourselves, including at times to fill our tanks of like entertainment or joy, or even the darker gamuts of feelings like sorrow and sadness and guilt, and all those things can be healthy and good for you. Just got to use them in the right light. And so, yeah, I support what you're saying, as long as you're not hurting others. Being selfish to a degree can be really good. Being recognizing the needs of yourself and using those, yeah, for sure.
Yes, another thing I remembered that I was wanting to address is, Marhandi, you said you want to find alternatives to keep your mind off of things. I will say, sometimes you don't want to be avoiding the problem, because that's just going to be putting it off but not solving it. But finding hobbies and stuff, I think does sound like a really good plan, because where the problem is you're feeling exhausted and needing a break, I think hobbies are a great way to help revive yourself and making time for those things that you enjoy. So, yeah, I think finding a new hobby that you can be passionate about would be really helpful. It can help um, take away the monotony of life and kind of just give you the refresh that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all need time to get away, like, for sure. And one thing you said, Marhandi, is you said like the only thing that you could find or you could think of that seems helpful in this issue is to just pursue something like a hobby, or a hobby that you haven't had experience with. And yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe that's exactly what you need to do. And so I would encourage you, if that's the road you think you need to go down, I want to encourage you to go down that road. Don't be afraid. It's like you're looking for something to break. Well, then don't be so afraid of things breaking then. Because if you, like, it sounds to me like you feel like you're trapped and you want out, right? You want to break free from where you are, but you literally want it to break. You're saying so, but you're also afraid of it breaking, and so you're not taking the actions necessary to actually break out. There are people, I know people, personally know people, and actually also have picked up people from hikes on the road, things like that. By the way, I've been told not to do that, but I am my own man, and I have picked up people who are hiking. And they are people, I know multiple people who have just said, all right, I'm going to disregard all the fears and warnings, and I'm just going to go make a new life. And they literally just live their day. They're like, okay, I'm going out into the streets and I'm going to live in a box. I'm going to go literally be homeless. And I've seen people do that and eventually work up to having a home and eventually work up to living a happy life. I've seen people who don't even want a home. I've seen people who work just summer jobs, and the rest of their, like, they work one job for the summer, and then the rest of the year they're out just like hiking the mountains, going out into the wilderness, and just enjoying their life on very minimal amount of food and water and so on and so forth. But they love it, and then they come back and work a summer wherever they end up. Like, they literally just land in a place and says, okay, this is where I'm at. Let's see if I can get a job here. And they do. And it's phenomenal. It's awesome. And so when you are caught in a situation where you just like you need things to change, don't be afraid of changing some things, even if they're drastic, because your happiness and you doing what you are put here on earth to do is more important than your security. And I know that's a hard statement because we, especially if we're advising people, what we want for them to have is security. But the truth is, we weren't put here on this earth for security. We weren't put here on this earth just to be safe. Because if that was the case, nothing would make sense, right? We aren't safe in this world by nature. By nature, I mean, we are super smart and we've created safety because we're humans. But like, look at all the other animals out there. You know, they have to deal with predators. They have to deal with hunting food every single week, if not every single day. A lot of animals, they eat 80% of the day. You know, we work 80% of the day, but we're not eating 80% of the day. You know, my point is, if you are afraid of making a change, I want to tell you, like, there are people who have made big changes. And when you make a big change, that's the only way to make a big difference in the world. That's the only way to make a big difference in yourself, is to make a big change. And so don't be afraid. I know that it's really hard and it's a risky thing for me to say, because let's say you end up on the streets and now you sue me because you're like, well, my life turned out crap because you followed my instructions of like, just go make your life different. Literally, just go make your life different. Leave, do whatever you need to do. And then now you're not happy, right? And so that puts me in a position where like, you don't have a home because of something I said. And I get that people don't want to make a recommendation of like just going or just doing something different because it could be bad. But if you're at a point right now where it's already bad enough that you physically are experiencing those rings that you talk about of just things breaking in your body, you need a change. And so where you are, if you just keep staying where you are, I mean, you've been here for a year, you know it's not getting any better. So I would recommend make a change. And I don't know what that's going to be. Again, I'm not a licensed advisor of any sort, but it sounds to me like you got to just bite the bullet and just say, you know what, I'm not going to be afraid of change. And the only way I'm going to get out of this is to change. And I know that's scary, but you know, even in this topic, you want to be reassured that it can work. And I'm giving you the reassurance that literally it can work because it's the only thing that will work. Because staying where you are is not going to change anything. You have to change something in your environment. You have to change who you are. You have to change something. And that's the only way. So, yeah, that's the best support and reassurance I can give you in the state that you're in. But anyways, that's all I got for right now. Anyone else have anything want to add on to that, or even just refute what I've said? It's totally fine if you disagree.
I have something to add. Isolation can make us feel safer, but it also can be something that's holding us back. You said you wanted to find something to do. Find somebody who wants to do that with you. Getting someone who does it with you can make you do it more and make it more enjoyable, but isolation is definitely a hole that can keep getting deeper if it's not addressed.
Yeah, that's very wise. That's absolutely true.
And especially finding someone else to do it with is like, when my father passed, I was scared that I was never going to be able to go fishing again, but I went off to college and they had a team for fishing and I got into it. It was a lot more enjoyable once I found other people to do it with, and it was a hard leap to take, but it's one I did and kind of got me out of the low. But the world is not a one size fit all on everything.
Very well said. Yeah. Caleb, do you have something you want to add?
So I think the biggest problem here that I'm seeing is that he doesn't really want to do anything. Like, he doesn't want to take the action that he needs to take. Um, he feels like, that he's not getting the attention and the support that he needs. I think, and the problem is, I mean, as he said, he thinks there's only one solution to that, and it's basically to get kind of an excuse to be supported and to have that rest that he needs. The problem is he doesn't want to do anything to put that into action either. That's the only path out that he sees. Point, which needs to be addressed, I think, with a therapist. But the fact he doesn't want to do anything about it. So finding a new hobby, taking that first step is the important thing, but he doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to take the first step. And I think that's the biggest problem. Trust us when we say, taking that first step is the most important part of this. Finding something to do and finding someone to do it with, as Baka said, is super important, especially if you're craving that attention and support. To have someone to do it with is just like, the most important thing. So find somebody and take that step. That's my advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's fair. And Marhandi, if we're off in the weeds here and we're not hitting the nail on the head, please let us know, because I think we're here for you. And the thing is, we all, to some greater or lesser degree, we all need to be cared for. We desire love and affection. We desire to feel important. We desire, just that interaction between humans that's good and shows that we're cared about. And the issue with that is that that's not under our control, because we can't control the people around us, and yet we have this innate feeling or desire to be loved, even though we can't control that. And so that's an interesting conundrum. And what I would say on that is, to some degree, our desire to feel loved is artificial. It's programmed. And to some degree, it's needed. And to find the separation of them, of both of those things, is really important. Because there's a lot of people in the world who they just want to be accepted for who they are. But the problem of that statement is you can never truly fully accept yourself, because no one here is perfect or perfectly acceptable. And so to set out in life to be accepted is a very dangerous game. And it leads you down roads of doing things that you might not be proud of, or might not be healthy, right? And so this might fall down the line of that. It might not. But your desire to harm yourself or whatever, just to be seen and cared for appropriately, might be an artificial desire, one that's not innate within you, but one that's been programmed within you by society and things that we watch and the people that we see, and how they interact with each other. To some degree, you are actually completely fine as a human being to not have other people support you. In the sense that you're just as valuable, you're just as important, whether people do it or not, right? And so to find that place where you recognize that your importance, your mental health, your well-being shouldn't be reliant upon how other people treat you, to find that place might be really important for you. Because if you can find that place, that makes you the best candidate for accepting the love of others. Because when you're in a state, and I don't mean to pick on you at all, Marhandi, this is just how it goes. When you're in a state where you feel like you need to be loved or you're not going to be happy, you're going to need people to support you and so on and so forth, or just will not be satisfied. If you're in that state, then you're not the one doing the loving. You're the one trying to force other people to love you. And I mean, that's one form of depression, but it's something that creates a lot of pain inside and for others. And I know this from personal experience. I've definitely been in that place before, where I've done things to receive love and affection, or to plea for it, or cry out for it, but had nothing to give anybody else. And my point isn't that we have to be able to give other people other things, or we're not useful human beings or anything like that. My point is saying that it's self-destructive, unfortunately, to make those pleas, because to be the kind of person that can love anyone that crosses their path and shows that love and gives that in earnest, without having the feeling of like, well, they owe me love now. They owe me, I need some too. Without that feeling invading you, you are a free person to just absolutely be happy. But if you feel like you deserve to be loved and you're not getting it, you are not a free person. You're a slave to that desire, that feeling. And so your interactions with other people are actions out of want, out of lust, out of desire for self, instead of actually a desire for them and their happiness. And I know that that might not be resounding with you. It might not be your scenario. I'm just telling you from my experience. That was a place I was in before, when I wanted others to support me better, and so on, or to love me or whatever. And I'm just letting you know that if you are in that place, you can definitely get out. But it requires you to acknowledge that that's the place you're in. Acknowledge that it's not okay, and work through it. Make a game plan of like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do these things without desire for reward. I'm going to help these people without any desire for reward. I hope they don't even find out it's me, right? Doing things like that, and just self-talk. But if you're not in that place, that's awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there in the case that you might be. You said you don't believe you're asking for love specifically, is what is currently driving you is that you've already been given the expectation from your family to do what you're doing. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no. I mean, that's not what the people around you want you to do isn't necessarily what's best for you, right? It's what they think is best for you, or what they want from you, etc. So to keep that in mind, that your path in life isn't what other people say it's going to be, is important. And you need to recognize that you're going to let people down in life in order to achieve the greatest out of life. But if you do what others tell you, you're going to let everybody down. Because you can't be what other people want you to be. You can only be what you're made to be. And so if you live your life under the command of others, you're never going to be the person that was their hero. And that's not worth it, I don't think. It's okay, it's great to help people, but yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. If that makes any sense, let me know. But yeah, I've talked for a little while. Does anyone else have anything they want to add on that?
I had a couple thoughts that I wanted to share. So first, back on the topic of change and asking for help, it's it's scary to change and it's scary to ask for help. Um, as a college student, I'm constantly faced with change, whether that's change in my classes or moving around different places, and it doesn't really get easier. I mean, I guess it kind of does, but it's always going to be scary. Um, but that's not a bad thing, and oftentimes I'll be really afraid of the change and I'll be like trying to find ways to avoid it, but then once the change actually happens, I'll find that I'm actually really happy with what's occurred. Um, so sometimes you just have to be able to take that first step, even though it's hard. Um, One thing you can do to try and make it a little less scary is you can try and take a small first step, because sometimes the first step is the hardest one to take. It's the process of actually starting it, and then once you're able to start it, it's a little easier to continue on. Um, so if you can think of what things you need to do, and then maybe find a way to like take the first step instead of making it something big, make it something small, change something simple, and um, from there it'll be a little bit easier. Um, Another thing I wanted to say is you you said you were being lazy and not acting, but I don't think I would call you lazy. I wanted to point out we as humans have limited energy. There's only so much that we can do. There's only so much energy we have to spend. Um, and for what it sounds like to me, I would guess that you're probably in survival mode right now. And when we're in survival mode, all of the energy we have is oftentimes just being used to survive, just to get through the day. And to me, from what you've explained, that's what it sounds like to me. Is it sounds like all the energy you have is being used just to get through the day, just trying to not fail the expectations that have been put on you. Um, and so I don't think it's that you're lazy. I think you just you don't have the energy you need right now. Um, and sometimes realizing that can also help. Um, and it can help change your mindset as well. So you can stop seeing yourself as lazy and realize, oh, I just am putting my energy into this thing. And sometimes that can also help so you can start to realize where you want to be spending your energy. Um, but yeah, I think, as Ryan was saying, the expectations people put on us are not always what's best for us. Um, and sometimes the expectations we think are being put on us aren't actually expectations that are being put on us. They're things we're perceiving. And so we think, oh, they see me this way, I have to keep doing this. And sometimes that's not what they think at all. That's just what you're imagining. So sometimes I think taking a step back and evaluating, okay, what is it that people actually need of me? And what is it that I need? I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 100% agree with that. Um, I hope this is helping Marhandi. I hope this is maybe giving you some encouragement or some courage to 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 move forward. There's some good comments if you've been reading them in the chat. I think that a lot of them are very helpful and good as well. You know, from August and Yansai. And yeah, Kel is also with us on the chat. So Kel's currently reading the topic, I think. But I'm sure that they might want to share something, so I'm going to stall a little bit of time for them. But Kel, whenever you are ready, let us know.
Yeah, no, I did read it. It was a lot of text, and I'm not really sure what's been said already.
Fair enough.
But I mean, everything that I've heard people say has been super true. It's it seems like you are experiencing some really intense burnout. That you're like trying to fight really hard, and is only really going to lead to more burnout as things progress. First of all, the pain that you're talking about in your joints and like your shoulder and your ankle, you said well, I don't know. It's definitely sounds like something you might want to get checked out because I have experienced that exact same pain that you're talking about. It was tendinitis for me, and could become more serious if it's left unchecked. So that's the first thing. And then I think forcing yourself to take up a hobby is well, it's a good idea to try a bunch of things, see if there's something that you can vibe with, and don't push yourself into something that is not gonna give you the return that you deserve from it. If you say you don't have experience with a lot of things, but that's find a class somewhere. Look if you have a local like homesteading store or something. It would be fantastic to start there. They might have all sorts of like DIY things, so you might find something there that would be good for you. I think that might be all I have.
Yeah, well, no, that's good. Thank you. And you pointed out something important. Marhandi, do you feel like you just don't have any time? Like, because you're so overwhelmed with, I guess, everybody else's expectations and living up to all the many things you have to do, and you're just kind of burnt out. Is that how you feel? Because I think the human mind is only capable of so much, and to recognize that that's true for you and all the rest of us as well is important. And sometimes you literally just need a break, and that's kind of what you're saying. Anyways, you just want a break, and now you want to break something, anything, just so you can literally do nothing and be okay doing nothing. There's in this world where we're filled with so many expectations to produce, to put forth work, to make something, to be constantly doing something. And if we're not doing something, then we're wasting our time and we're a bad person. And I want to try to do my part, if that's how you feel, to help you recognize that that's not the truth. We aren't, our value as human beings, like you said it yourself, you kind of like, if you got broken in such a way where you were stuck in the hospital or something, and you could just rest and be supported, and that would be okay, because then people wouldn't be expecting the world of you, and it would be okay for you to literally do nothing because you could only do nothing. And only then would it be okay to do nothing. Like, that isn't applicable only to people who are bedridden. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to literally just relax. You aren't a bad human being just because you don't put out as much as other people, or what other people expect you to put out, in terms of work or activity or whatever. And so, if that's the way you're feeling, then I want to let you know that all of us are important, especially you, and what you're facing. If you're just overloaded, then you're overloaded, and you're a human being, and that's normal to be overloaded, right? Like, that's a normal reaction, normal feeling. And so don't stay there. Recognize it's okay to just be you, doing nothing, if that means relaxing a little bit. And I know that in many environments, if you do that, you'll get yelled at and you'll get shamed, and so on and so forth. But their opinions aren't the correct ones if they're doing that to you, right? If people shame you or yell at you because you're not doing as much as they want you to do, well, that's their prerogative. Like, that's on them, because it's them wanting you to do something for them or whatever, right? And so that's them being selfish, which isn't, in a way, that's really harmful to you. And so you need to recognize that that's what that is, and not give in to that. People are going to yell at you from time to time in this world. People are going to get mad at you. And the thing is, just because someone's mad at you doesn't mean you did something wrong. And so it's okay to walk away. It's okay to move forward differently than what other people want you to move forward in. It's okay to drop everything and move on. It's okay to do all of these things, because there's nothing wrong with doing those things. And there is something wrong with other people using you. And so if you feel like you're being used, if that's where you are, and then you can't enable those people, because that's not healthy for them and you, right? So if you feel like you're getting used, then I would recommend you leave. I know that's hard, but if that's how you feel, if that's what you see, then yeah, it's good to just, it's good for them that you don't remain in that position forever. Because I can tell you from experience, I can tell you from many other people's experience, if you allow yourself to be used to a point where they're relying on you, and they can't be happy unless you're doing something, like they're like terrible to you if you're not putting out the amount of work that they expect from you, things like that, they're going to be stuck in a self-destructive cycle until you get out of there. And they're not going to be happy people, and you're never going to make them happy. And that's just the way it is. I don't know if that's your position. I'm just speculating, and I could be totally off, and that's okay. And so I'm just doing my best to give you my best. Yeah. But I really appreciate what Baka said earlier. Find something that other people are doing that you want to do too. That's actually a really great pick-me-up, and absolutely agree with that. If you want to just pick up some hobbies, find other people to do it with. It's a really good way to sort of change your mental state about things and just start to feel like you belong and like you're happy. Absolutely. Cool. Anyone got anything else before I conclude this and go to the next topic? And Marhandi, feel free to speak if you've got anything you want to say, or correct or whatever.
I'd like to add something just
Yeah, please do.
probably sound like Joe here, but
Oh, please
sleep
do.
and exercise is a very good base for mental health.
Yeah.
Mental and physical health. It's just like sleep is the first stone. Tiny bit of exercise can get you more energies. It's a weird way to put it, but it it's actually scientifically proven. I've heard studies of it, but
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Sleep also improves energy levels and productivity. I've noticed a correlation with my schooling. When I get enough sleep, then I have more energy and motivation, and it's easier for me to do the stuff I need to do. If I start sacrificing sleep, then I wake up and I'm tired, and oftentimes I'm still stressed. Like maybe I sacrificed sleep because I was stressed about doing something. Normally, I'll wake up and I'm still stressed, but now I'm just stressed and extra tired, and then my motivation levels and productivity get worse. So then things will start taking longer, and then it just cycles. So I think starting to prioritize sleep can be a really good step.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Agreed and agreed. Exercise and sleep, or sleep and then exercise, whatever. Yeah, and when it feels like you don't have any time to do those things, that's not a good place. Make the time to do those things. Sacrifice your work in order to do those things, because what you're going to find is that your work efforts are going to be like, you can do the same amount of work in a smaller amount of time if you have your other stuff in place, right? I mean, there've been, just like Baka said, there have been many scientific journals and research on that subject, and making sure you get enough sleep, like taking one entire day off of work every week, it shows great what's the word? Anyways, the amount of work you get done and the amount of time you get done is significantly greater because you have more energy, you have more motivation, just like Haley said. And sorry, my brain went blank for a second. Just like Haley said. And yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. So yeah, thanks for that, Baka. Appreciate that. Cool. Well, thank you. Thanks for the topic, Marhandi. I hope that that's helpful. I hope that you can get through this, whether it's anything we said or nothing that we said at all. One way or another, we hope the best for you, and we hope that whatever this is, you get over it, and it gets better, and you make the changes necessary to do that, and you have the courage to do so. Because yeah, we genuinely hope that you're awesome, because you are awesome. You've been around for a long time. We've known you for a long time, and you've always been lovely and kind and sweet to be around. And yeah, it's just nice to know you. So, yeah, I really wish you the best. I'm sure we all do. So, yeah, moving on to the next topic. If everyone's on board with that.
I think we're good to move on. But
I'm on board.
Okay, cool. I've got this one. Let's see. Yeah, this one's from an anonymous. They don't have a preference of whether they're here or not, so probably be good. It's titled Struggling to Be Impressed. I'm gonna go ahead and copy the text here and put it in the chat for you guys so that you can read it. I'm also gonna put it up on the screen so that if you guys want to read it, you can read it as well. This is from Anonymous, again, titled Struggling to Be Impressed. And it reads as follows. I always feel like I'm struggling to find things to compliment people on I find it difficult to compliment people genuinely because I rarely feel like people do things that are impressive to me. I'm not sure why people need to do something impressive for me to genuinely want to compliment them. I feel bad about not I feel bad about not complimenting friends genuinely. I sometimes wish my friends accomplished more so that I could compliment them more genuinely and be more excited for them. I know this is a terrible and unfair on them thing to feel. How can I be more impressed when people do normal things? Or how can I lower my standards for what is deserving of a compliment? From Anonymous. Wow, this is great. First of all, I mean, I just want to say thank you for putting something so honest and revealing about yourself. Obviously, you're putting this under Anonymous, so you're not really revealing it about whoever you are. But I think this is to be vulnerable, to be open, and to have this genuine problem, to recognize this about yourself says a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. And to request help in this, I think that's phenomenal. And I find that to be impressive. And I find it to be impressive because, not because it's completely out of the ordinary. I suppose it is a little out of the ordinary. Not a lot of people request help in this category or even at all be this open about, their problems. But I find it impressive in the sense that your intention is to improve and be a better person. And that's noticeable in the context of the scenario. And I find it impressive because it's vulnerable. And vulnerability is a scary thing. Because even if you're doing it anonymously, you're still putting your vulnerability on the line because you know the things that we're saying is going to be directed right at you. And if you feel like we have the opportunity to attack you, for example, because you know who you are, and yet you're willing to take that so that you can improve. And I find that's impressive because it leads to something valuable. At the risk of harm, it leads to something valuable. And I find that impressive. So I just wanted to put that right out there right from the start. But I'm going to give it over to you guys. Do you guys have anything you want to say on this? I'm sure you do.
I can go first.
Yeah, go for it. Please.
All right, you go first.
Okay. So this, I definitely know where you're coming from, because, it's, it's hard to, look past the surface sometimes and see, oh, this thing takes this effort, you have to spend this amount of time learning all this stuff to accomplish something. And it's definitely an effort that you have to make to understand that by yourself. And unless you are, for instance, looking at something that a friend is really interested in with them and hearing them speak about it, it's, you have to do that research by yourself, and it can be boring and unforgiving. I think my advice to you is, doing the shallow, like, small compliments to start off with is fine. It's actually a great starting place, because the way that you learn to feel things and interpret things is by doing them in the first place. Start that way and make an effort to learn from your friends when they are talking to you about something they're interested in. Not only will it show them that you value your relationship with them, but it will, you'll be able to learn and appreciate something from their point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was like a perfect start. Yeah, that's a really good place to start. Absolutely. Yeah, Caleb, what did you want to add on that?
Actually kind of relate to this one. I'm not what they would call easy to please. My family and friends know how hard it is to get me gifts for Christmas and birthdays. So, definitely relatable. So I also felt the same kind of need to, I want to be supportive of my friends and compliment them, that kind of thing. Basically, just as Kel said, find something that they're interested in. But what I would say, even more specifically, is find something that's important to them. People is not just about how impressed you are with them. You don't have to lower your standards because that could be perceived as insulting to them too, that you had to lower your standards to say something good about them, and that's not going to be received very well either. What you have to do is you should relate to the person, because you want to develop that relationship, be a better friend to them, and you want them to be a better friend to you. So what you do when you're relating to someone, you're looking for things that are important to them. Like, not everyone wants to be praised for everything they do, kind of thing. Not everyone's looking for compliments like that. So to just say that, oh, I have to have a universal standard where I compliment people on this level, kind of thing, is not something that you need to go into either. You wanna try to find out what's important to them. You want to be important to them as a friend, and so find out what they want to hear, find out what they need to hear. If they were working really, really hard for a week on something very minuscule, like painting a model, right? You don't feel very impressed with that because you're not really interested in painting models. It's hypothetical, of course. For a week on painting that little tiny model, and you think that, oh well, that's kind of dumb. What's important is that you realize how important that is to them, that, and what they feel about that. And so to be complimenting or supportive of them, you want to say, wow, like, you did a really good job with that. And if you don't like it, you don't have to say, I don't like it, in a way like, you did a really good job with that. Because they worked really hard on that. Important to them. So I guess I'll pass on to the next person.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes, I mean, kind of what Kel was saying too. You gotta start somewhere, and even if it's not 100% genuine, in the sense that you don't feel something inside of you, right? You don't have to have a feeling inside of you to make a compliment that's worth making. Even if you don't necessarily feel that genuinity, doesn't mean it's not real. I mean, that's an important distinction in a lot of things in life. And I don't know, Anonymous, if you're religious at all or anything. This is my first example that I could think of in the regards though, and it's that people are like, well, I don't feel like God is real. It's like, well, that's not, your feelings don't determine whether something is true or not, and the way you feel about God is not going to determine how God is, or how God is inherent in your circumstance or feeling himself or whatever. Again, if you're not religious, sorry that statement goes completely over your head, but I think you kind of get it. It's a true thing. What is true is what is true is not dependent upon your emotions or the genuinity of your feelings. So to start with something that you can see someone worked hard on is beneficial, in the sense that when you practice something, you gain the ability to start feeling it. But if you don't ever practice it, you're never going to start feeling it. If you don't practice finding the good in other people, it's going to be really hard to feel to feel genuine when you try to find something good in other people, right? So having that constant search of finding good in other people, or noticing how hard they worked for it, is actually very beneficial. It's like that thing where it's like, you don't believe it yet, but if you keep on working at it, you'll start to believe. It's one of those things. You train your mind based on your actions, and if your actions are not what your beliefs are, your beliefs will eventually conform to your actions, or you'll tear yourself apart. One of the two will happen. And in the case where you're trying to become a better person, trying to become someone who can genuinely be impressed, I think that sometimes you have to lead with your actions and then follow up with your emotions later. But yeah, I just wanted to intersect with that and then give it over to anyone else who wants to talk on it.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about is how compliments don't have to be something.
Oh, hold on. Can you start over? I had your volume too low and it was cutting out or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say compliments don't have to be big or to compliment on small things.
I'm sorry, Haley.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yours isn't turning green, so I guess it's not on my end. Maybe just the volume is getting cut out somehow. Maybe the what do you call that? The threshold is too high for the gate in Discord in the settings. Yeah, Discord sensitivity. Thank you, Lord Noda. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, if you have auto detect, turn it off and just drag that sensor down. Yeah, thanks, Cal. Yeah, I don't. By the way, I don't mind if there's like a bunch of fuzz or fan sounds in the background. It's totally fine. Sorry. I mean to put you on the spot or on hold. Sorry about that. Oh man. Did it all stop working entirely? Someone else can go while you work on it. Okay, yeah, while you work it out. Yeah, that's totally fine. Baka, did you have anything you wanted to add? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I can add to it. For compliments, it's a whole different world. The how would I put it? The social interactions have changed so much in society or nowadays, and to the
Yeah, you're
point
so
of
right.
you have to watch what you say, but also that it's different between friends group, family, coworkers, everything else. But it's also that we don't just communicate verbally either. When we communicate, we have facial expressions, body expressions, I guess. We perceive people talking to us physically too, but it's also not just. And confidence isn't a thing, something that's, I would say, a hindrance. It's just also, where am I going with that? Verbally just saying positive things to somebody can be perceived as a compliment too. It's not just like a compliment, it's like something good. Get where I'm going.
Oh, was that it?
Compliments is a
Oh,
hard.
sorry, go on. I
I
think I'm having
can still
internet
go,
issues
but
is all. Yeah, go on.
as compliments is a touchy subject because it could come off as a compliment from us, but it could sound like an insult to them, which also drags it. Hard to find the line between what's a compliment and what's not. So it's a touchy subject, but from what I've seen, positivity and politeness is the first step to take. It's what I see people perceive compliments as, is just not just walking up being grumpy and go, eh, rather than being more expressive with your speech, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about being delightfully engaged. I think that might be the best way to kind of put what you were saying into effect. When you can engage with someone in a delightful manner, like you have a posture and a presence about you, the way that you speak, instead of speaking down low, you speak up high with excitement. That says a lot and makes people feel like it's like you don't even necessarily have to say, oh, good job on this, but they in their nature will feel as though you're complimenting them. Like it's the same experience. Even if you're not like saying, hey, you did a really good job on this, it is kind of like the same emotional feel of like, wow, this person really is happy to see me. This person's excited about me and my presence and what I'm doing. And yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that's a really good, what do we call that? Baka, I think that was a really interesting and important thing to take notice of, is compliments can be just entirely not even like words, just how you approach someone. Looks like we're experiencing issues on multiple people's parts now. Caleb is out because his memory on his laptop ran out. So, yeah.
Ooh.
And Haley,
Well,
can
my
we hear
laptop quit reading its memory.
Oh man. Haley, I'm gonna just talk, and if at any point you figure out how to get your thing to work, and I'm so sorry if I broke it on you. I don't know, maybe maybe I did something. But if at any point you could just like interject and start talking, like feel free to make noises. When I hear you, I'm gonna give it over to you. So, yeah. Until then, I guess I'll say my part. You know, Anonymous, again, I think it's great that you're asking these questions. And that you want to be genuinely positive and reinforcing to others. I think that's a great skill. And recognize that it's a skill. It's not a personality type, though it can be. It's not just some people have it and some people don't. Or some people can have it, some people can't. Being able to reinforce other people with compliments or encourage them and so on and so forth, that is a skill. And the feeling behind it, the genuinity, genuinitiveness, I don't know, behind it is also a skill. It is like empathy. You know, as Joe would say, we are all narcissistic in the sense that without empathy, we are narcissists. But empathy can be gained, empathy can be trained, empathy can be learned and obtained. Maybe not to the same degree as everybody else, but there's a sense of recognizing others and how they feel. And that goes a really long way. Oh, hey, I can hear you.
Yeah. I decided to switch. Now that my Bluetooth headphones are charged, I switched over to them to see if that would help.
It is helping.
And I switched to my phone from my laptop because that crashed.
Welcome back, both of you. All right, well, yeah, you're free to speak. Go for it.
Okay. Well, so what I was going to say earlier is compliments don't always have to be something super big or over something impressive. For example, when I'm getting ready for school in the morning, sometimes I'll see my roommates and I might have like a thought like, "Oh, I think that's a nice shirt," or something like that. And so then I try to make the effort to say that out loud to my roommates. And you know, I think one reason, this is just speculation, one reason Anonymous might feel like they can't just give compliments over everything is I think sometimes we have this idea that when you're constantly giving compliments or like when you have a lot of something, it's less valuable. Like maybe if you're always complimenting people, it seems like it's less sincere. Like I know I have a friend who once said they don't like to say I love you a whole lot because they feel like saying I love you a lot makes it lose meaning, but I don't think that's necessarily true. And typically when you're giving compliments, it's not about yourself, it's about someone else, and the compliment's not for you, it's for the person you're giving it to. Um, and so I think just trying to focus on the other person and recognizing, like, maybe this isn't a big deal to me, but it could be to them, or maybe this seems super small and it's not that important, and maybe it doesn't seem that important to them either, but people love feeling acknowledged. And so I think just being able to freely express those thoughts is a great way to help people feel seen and feel acknowledged. Um, Sometimes I'll be walking around campus and I'll see someone and maybe I like their hairstyle and it could be a complete stranger, but I try to make a point of letting them know that I like their hairstyle because even if it's not like a super impressive hairstyle, I think it makes people's day to see that someone noticed that they've done something nice. But
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really like the line on Neonside said as well. The compliment is not for you, it's for the person you're giving it to. And yeah, I mean, keep that in mind is really important because it takes the pressure off of you. Who cares however you feel about it to some degree, right? Obviously you want to be genuine, but I think the fact that even when you make a compliment that doesn't feel genuine, that's something to be proud of. because it means you went out of your way to find something good in someone and make a statement that makes other people feel good, right? I think that's awesome. But to learn the skill of, I guess, finding good in other people, I mean, it's a great skill. You should live your life with it. I mean, it goes a long way. Just like Haley was saying, I think it really does. It makes everyone like, it's not, the point of complimenting other people really doesn't have a lot to do with you. It has a lot to do with the other people. But I'll tell you what, it makes your relationship so much better. You know, it makes a big difference, even if it's not about you. It really does pay itself back to you, because you formulate a relationship with other people that's founded on positivity, and wholesomeness and goodness and so on. So, definitely a great skill to have and to learn. I guess one of the last things I want to say about this is, does anyone else have anything else that they wanted to add, by the way, first?
Well, I wonder if the person who wrote this also has a hard time accepting compliments as genuine when they're received.
I feel like that's most people.
Well,
yeah, no, but it's a great thing to talk about, though. Seriously, we all need to learn that.
Also a learned skill, and I believe that it's very connected.
Yeah, I think so too.
If that's the case, learning how to accept compliments yourself might be a really great place to start.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. I think that did we talk about that recently on one of the other Don't Worry Wednesdays?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. I was like, that sounds super familiar. I feel like someone said it. It might have been me even. I don't even know, but it's a great point. And absolutely true. Learning to receive compliments is huge, because if you can't receive them, then you're not going to give them very well. Because, yeah, I mean, there's an obvious paradox. But yeah, I think there's something also to be said about, I think, Cal, did you start us out on this one? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and you were talking about something about when you're trying to give a genuine compliment, you sort of weigh the value of what they did. You sort of like think about, what kind of accomplishment was that? How much work is put into that in order to get that kind of result? And to know all of those things in order to make a genuine compliment is to some degree necessary, but it would require you to know everything. And that's a bit too much. And so I think maybe there's something to be said about the inherent value of the person over what they've achieved. And what I mean is, okay, if someone's really into something and you want to compliment them on it, whatever, you want to understand why they're proud of it or what they've done or why they did it, whatever, ask them and get involved in their life. Ask them, like, how much time did it take you to do that, and so on and so forth. And instead of going like, oh, it took that many hours, I'm guessing a professional could probably do that in 2 hours instead of 2 weeks. And also, when I look at this, it doesn't inspire me. This piece of artwork or whatever is just not my style. Or it's just like, man, the shading is terrible, but that's my opinion. But to my opinion, the shading on this is just terrible. And took them so long to do it. It's hard for me to give a real compliment on it. And I understand that. I mean, I'm very picky, as Caleb said about himself as well. I'm very picky when it comes to visual arts. And I don't know why, because I'm not that great of a visual artist, but I just am. And so to be impressed by someone takes a lot. And that's a good thing in the sense that it means I have it means I have what's the word? It means I'm not naive to what
Taste.
Yeah, taste, right? Taste. It's kind of like if you've never tasted flavor before, you might not actually like it. That's why people like, like some people live on macaroni and boxed macaroni and cheese their whole life, and they never experience or enjoy like a homemade macaroni and cheese. It's like, that's totally fine. That's where you're at, and that's what you like. That's what you like. But the more you branch out into many other flavors, the more you're actually going to enjoy the other flavors. It requires you to experience them to start to enjoy them. And so you can be proud of the fact that, okay, I'm not pleased by most visual art or whatever it is, right? Whatever you're dealing with. So
Yeah,
that's
you don't have
good.
to sacrifice your own taste for, for pleasing other people. Certainly not.
Yeah, that's exactly true.
Make them dinner.
The thing is, I think Anonymous understands that giving compliments. I think Anonymous understands the value of giving compliments and understands to give compliments even when they're not genuine. I think what they're struggling with is more, they want to give genuine compliments, and that is all about the relationship to the person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deepen that relationship, find out what they like, find out what they need, what they want, that kind of thing. So
I'm grateful you added that, because that's what I was kind of pointing to, and I was saying, there's something valuable and inherently valuable in the person, not in the activity.
Yeah.
And that they work so hard for it is an achievement for them, and is an achievement for all mankind in the sense that if we all work hard at doing good, mankind will be better off. Even if our individual outputs are different than our efforts, the fact is that we all need to be trying to do good and trying to be putting our best foot forward. And so when we compliment people, we encourage that activity, and that's what makes the world a better place. So it's definitely worth doing. And maybe you can find some genuinity in that you care about the person and you want them to continue moving forward. That can be a genuine feeling, and the compliment can be genuine in that regard, especially because you're dealing with an individual, not with the overall entire profession of the art or trade or whatever they've done. Haley, it looks like you have something on your mind. Did you want to say something?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I also think sometimes you can think something like maybe someone shows you an artwork they did, and you can look at that and be like, yeah, I think that artwork's pretty good, and you can recognize, like, it's not Picasso level art, but you could still think it's pretty good. And telling them, I think that looks pretty good, is a genuine compliment, even if you're not like immensely impressed by it, like, oh, this belongs in a museum. If you genuinely think that it looks good, then that compliment is genuine, no matter what level of like impressiveness it was. And then I also think sometimes, maybe you'll want to say something to not hurt someone's feelings, but I think that in and of itself can be seen as genuine, because the feelings of you want that person to feel like they're doing well, or something along those lines, is a genuine feeling. So even if you're not necessarily sharing precisely what your thoughts are, you can still be giving a genuine compliment because you're genuinely trying to make them feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, just kind of value the effort they put into whatever it is.
No, that's actually a really good point, Baka, because it's like that's a human being, and they are taking their time to like put effort into something that's valuable, because their time is valuable, and so what they do with their time has value. If they've chosen to do something that's worthy of worthy of praise, even if it's not something that you genuinely feel is impressive, it's still worthy of praise. And maybe you can find some genuinity in that. I think true. Also, if you want to be impressed more, I mean that's a fair statement. I mean, your question here is how do you lower your standards for what is deserving of a compliment, or how do you be impressed when people do normal things? Okay, I'm gonna try to give a good response to that, and it's not an easy response. It requires a lot from you, but recognize it requires also a little from you, less from you. My stance on this is humility. Be humbled. And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of people get humility wrong in the sense that they think humility is to put other people before themselves. And that's not exactly humility. It's not completely off, but it's not humility in its context. Humility is to recognize the value of everything around you appropriately and live that out. So when you look at another human being, you have to recognize they're just as valuable as you, and they're infinitely valuable, and their time is valuable, and what they do is valuable, right? And if you want to be impressed, recognize that you aren't more than normal yourself. What I mean is, if you want to be impressed by the normal that people put out, then you have to recognize that you are normal, but also that is impressive. That is not an easy order for me to give you. But humility is the gateway virtue, the virtue that allows for all other virtues to come. Because without humility, without recognizing that you are valuable, and without recognizing that you have room to grow, right? You can't grow. You're not going to be impressed by anything if you don't recognize that you yourself have room to improve, you yourself have room to grow, and that you're valuable enough to have those things, but they will take some work. And in order to gain humility, you can put yourself in the shoes that you don't want to be in, that are humbling. I'm going to give you an example that was done by a saint. I forget which saint it is. You can look it up online if you're interested in it. But there was a saint who was asking for humility for God. And sort of it came to their mind that what they needed to do was clean the public bathroom. And whenever they went into a public bathroom to go to the bathroom, they would follow it up with cleaning the entire bathroom, cleaning the filth that other people put on the ground, and then just doing that every time. And why is that humbling? Why does that make a humble person? Because we are all filthy. We are all capable of putting out filth, right? We're all capable of missing the toilet when we pee, right? We're all capable of making mistakes. And so when you put yourself in the shoes where you're like, I'm no better than the person who has to clean this toilet. I'm no better than the janitor. I can't put myself say, oh, I'm better than plumbers because I don't have the job where I have to work in the stink. It's like, if you recognize your value is equal to theirs and you live that out in life and you go clean that public bathroom, you'll start to be impressed by the people around you because you'll be able to see even more clearly the good that they're putting out, because you've also experienced the filth that they've put out, and you've made the filth you've taken the bar that's way up here and you've put it all the way down at level 0, because you recognize this is where our default is, the bathroom. This is where our default is. It's like we're gross and stinky. So everything beyond that is impressive, because it takes effort to do anything beyond that. It's good, right? Someone cooks a good meal and it tastes yummy. That should make you feel impressed. That you, the bottom line is food that tastes like nothing or is even gross, because that's where we started with food. But we get to enjoy all sorts of lovely different flavors in the world now. And that is impressive. That's way beyond the bar. So to lower your bar is not to make humanity look worse. It actually makes humanity look much better. And humbling
I think,
is
that's
good,
kind of
Matthew.
like,
Yeah, please go.
I think what Ryan's talking about is thankfulness, you know, just, and what an appropriate time to do it, the day before Thanksgiving. You know, just being thankful for
That's awesome.
everything that's around us, you know, and all the things that God made and God gave to us, you know, if you're religious. So yeah, just, I mean, thankful for everything that makes our society work the way it does. You know, that includes janitors who clean the toilets. You know, because it all works together, and we can be thankful for all of it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a really great point. Just thankfulness can go really far away. So yeah. That's all I had. And I really appreciate all your guys' input. Did you have anything you wanted to add? Anyone else? Any final statements? If not, that's totally okay. You said your major has been humbling. How come? I mean, how so? Difficulty?
Well, yeah, it's definitely been difficult, and I mean, going to college, like straight out of high school, I was top of my class. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just such a smart person. And you know, going to college, it's not that I'm not a smart person, but I've chosen a difficult major filled with lots of smart people. And then
so you realize your
sometimes
limits.
yeah, you start to realize, okay, I'm not just like the best of the best anymore. Like there's always room for improvement. Also, my major has kind of taught me that everything we think we know is actually just not true, and everything we learned is actually from bacteria. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's great.
um, yeah, but I don't know. I think it's just been humbling, and it's helped me learn to accept that I don't always have to be perfect. In high school, I was like, I need the straight A's. If I don't have perfect grades, it's all going to be over. But you know, my second semester of college, the straight A's died, and I was just grateful I made it through. So it's definitely been a humbling experience, but it's good. Um, we enjoy it. And in the words of my biochem teacher, we are superior to yeast.
That's good. That's a good starting place. Although yeast is pretty good at making bread, and I don't know if I would be good at making bread. But yeah, no, that was actually
Yeah, and we can be thankful for the yeast, even if we are superior to it. You know, we can be thankful for the yeast, because without it, we wouldn't have bread, and that would be really terrible.
Yeah, man, life without bread would suck. I'm thankful for bread. It's lovely. But yeah, no, that was great. That was it's very honest and real, and I appreciate that, because yeah, I can relate for sure, Haley.
I want to say that that's not unique to just you. That is I don't know about universal, but definitely very common higher education / adult living experience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is true. Like in once you get out of school, not that school is easy and simple, because it certainly isn't. In fact, I never want to relive my school years. For me, they were painful. They were horrible. And I would rather be an adult and have adult responsibilities than go back to school and have those responsibilities. But nevertheless, in real life, you get the test, and then it doesn't, you either pass or you don't, and then you learn from that. But in school, you get all of the information and then you take the test, and it's just kind of backwards. And college is very difficult. I know that to be true, and it requires a lot of time and effort. And so does any career. every career you want to go into, if you want to put your life into it, you can, and it will require all of you, and it will require more than all of you, and you're going to fail, and that's how you learn and get better, and yeah, to recognize that that's at our best. That's us at our best, is failing our way through it. And so when you see people failing, technically that is impressive, because that is them literally at their best. Not like necessarily they failed because they didn't try at all. Obviously that's not what I'm talking about. But if they're trying hard and they're failing their way through it, like, that is so impressive, because that's what life is like. That's what being an adult is like. That is what life has for you, and you get to make that into something incredible as you go and live it. But yeah, I think that really speaks true to the art examples as well. It's like you look at someone's art and you're like, oh, that looks like a failure to me, but that's impressive though that they did that, because that's so much effort from them that alone is impressive.
Yeah, and as an artist, you learn the most from your mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why there's things like iterative drawing, is where you draw something and then you draw it again, and then you draw it again, and then you draw it again, and you learn from your failures more than you learn from anything else.
Mm-hmm.
On the topic of failure, I thought of a quote I heard recently. It was, "If you fail, try 2 more times so the failure is statistically significant."
That's hilarious.
I think that's pretty great. Sometimes you just have to keep trying, and even if you keep failing, there can still be value to the repeated failures. I can tell you, biochem lab, my biochem lab class, it's faced with constant failure. And you just have to keep trying, and sometimes you'll start to learn little things that you realized were probably impacting your ability to be successful. Sometimes you just have no clue why it's not working, and you just have to keep trying until it finally works for unknown reasons. But either way, there's value in continuing to try.
Yeah, that sounds like writing music. And usually when when someone asks what writing music's like, I'm like, all right, first let me explain to you what it's like programming, because it's like, to me, that's the most relatable thing. And they're like, I don't know anything about programming. And so then I explain programming so that they'll understand how music is difficult. And it's exactly what you said. Like, you try things, and then you're just problem solving. Like, why didn't that work? I have no idea. And it's frustrating, and you're like, problem solving, and you finally get it, and you have no idea how it happened sometimes, but it finally works, and you're like, I did it. I did a music, I wrote something that sounds good. And yeah, so that's very relatable. So anyways, that all is on the point of being impressed, because persistence is an impressive quality.
I just want to play off of something Haley said, because it just occurred to me, maybe Anonymous is a straight A student. Maybe they have so high standards for themselves that they feel like nothing else would do, that kind of thing. And so maybe Haley can share a bit from her experience as that kind of person, what it would have been like for her to give compliments back in those days.
Yeah, in high school, when I was a straight A student, yeah, I definitely can understand why it would be a little harder, especially if you're complimenting on like grades and performance, because when you do better than someone, it's like, how can I compliment them when I've done better than they did? I think sometimes if they know you did better, then the compliment can also be received wrong, because they might think, oh, well, I already know you did way better than me. What do you mean I did great? But I think you have to kind of step outside the world of numbers. It's really easy to get caught up in the numbers and the letters, but it's important to step outside of that. Instead, look at like the effort, and like if you learned something, especially In college, there's times when you get like a 50 on a test and you're celebrating that you got a 50 on that test. And other people might be right there celebrating with you. And then, maybe someone else got a 48, but you can be like, that's really great. Especially if the class average is a 30, then you know what? Maybe you did better than they did, but they still worked really hard and they learned a lot. And I think that in itself is valuable. But yeah, so sometimes you need to realize that the numbers and the letters don't define you and they don't make you superior. Um, and so it's important to step outside of that and stop trying to hold people to the same standard you hold yourself to, because you're different people, you're separate people, and so what's easy for you might not be easy for someone else. um, and you might think, maybe for yourself you think an A minus is bad, but like for other people you think an A minus is really good. um, so it's important to not hold people to the same standards you hold to yourself to, um, and instead look at the person and their effort. And yeah.
Hmm. Like that would be a way that someone might perceive, they need to lower their standards, but really what you need to do is hold each person to not the same standard.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting conundrum for sure.
What you just said gave me an idea. Well, first of all, accomplishment is equity, not equality. That means that it's not based on everyone else, it's based on individuals. So complimenting someone based off of what you are capable of may very well feel fake. That being said, though, if you are giving sincere compliments to people, and they are continuously taking them the wrong way, that might not be on you.
Fair.
That may be on the other party. So, I mean, if it's everyone that you've ever given a compliment to, maybe that requires some inner reflection. But if it's one person or a couple people, you might not be the problem.
Yeah. I guess right on that, Lord Noda, they said they experienced difficulty with this, and they said maybe it's the way that I say things. And I think there's something to be said about that. And just as Cal was making note of, it could be on them, but there's something you can do, and that is to give disclaimers. When you're worried that another person might take something wrong, or if after they have taken it wrong, it's important to reiterate or to disclaim your position, so that your compliment or your statements or whatever you're trying to do, you take away from them the opportunity or the ability to be offended. So a lot of times when I'm saying something, especially to people I know that might be offended, if I'm going to give a compliment, I make my disclaimer first. And so I say like, hey, by the way, I really sincerely mean this. I just wanted to say I really liked your shoes and I want to know where you got them because they're really cool. Instead of just saying, hey, nice shoes. People, because if I say like, hey, nice shoes, people will be like, and then they just walk away. They might feel like, was he mocking me? I knew people would notice my new shoes, or my ratty shoes, they're like, they got holes in them now, whatever. But you genuinely like them. It's important to make the extra commitment of words to truly get across the way that you want them to receive it. Because if you don't and you leave it up to them to decide how they want to receive it, or just accidentally receive it, right? Because we don't always make those conscious decisions of like, how do I want to receive this? No, it's like a habit. If their habit is to take offense, then yeah, make a disclaimer. And I find that goes a long way. Take away the opportunity for their response to be a bad one by inserting the context before they assume the context, right? So put the context of the scenario that you're in out there for them to digest, so that when you give your compliment, it can't be received wrong because you've already put in what the context of the scenario is. They don't have to make up, oh, this person's only saying that because they feel bad about the fact that I don't have a lot of money or something, right? You completely get rid of the context of whatever's going on in their brain before you say it. Yeah, people always assume you're mocking them. Yeah, in your friend group. Yeah, and that might be a thing in your friend group. Like, might be just a normal, like, that's what you guys do or whatever. Certain friend groups, I know there's a lot of bantering and stuff that goes on. And yeah, to make a honest compliment sometimes, or even just avoid conflict, a disclaimer can go a really far way. Put the context in its context, in its appropriate context before you say something, so they can't assume otherwise. Very, very helpful tool I learned, and that everyone should have in their tool belt. And then also something that Kel started talking about as well. Actually, it wasn't Kel. It was Haley and Caleb. Anyways, when you're talking about like a compliment coming from something you've already achieved or you're better at, I guess Kel touched on it too. I am used to giving compliments to people like that are about their personality or about their virtues and so on and so forth. And it can feel weird when it's like, hey, I just wanted to say that you've got a really great attitude, and the way you approached that whatever was really awesome. And then their response is like, how can you compliment me on that when that's literally the same thing you would have done, and you literally have these attributes as well and these virtues? And it's like, you compliment me on this, but it's like, how can I compliment them? And when I get that response, my response is just, a good thing is a good thing, regardless of like whether it came to you naturally or you had to work hard on it. Because a lot of these things I had to work hard on to become good at. Some of these things are natural, but most of them, it's like, if I've got a virtue, I've had to work on it. And so when I see that virtue in you, first of all, I can only notice it in part because I recognized that it was valuable in the first place. And because it was valuable, I sought it out, right? And I see you doing that. And that is absolutely worth a compliment. So even if I have achieved the same thing, or even if I'm a few steps ahead, a good thing is a really good thing. And so it's not fair to yourself to be like, oh, he's already accomplished that, so his compliment isn't genuine. It's like, no, it's completely genuine because I've experienced it, because I know the work that it took, because I know what that, maybe I don't know your place, but I know how hard it was for me or whatever it was. Because I've recognized the value in it, I can compliment you on it, not because of anything else. And so a good thing is a good thing. And I think it's important to recognize that. So if like you get an A in your class and someone else gets like a B, right? And so you did better than them, you can still compliment them and say, look, like, yeah, sure, I got a higher grade, but that doesn't matter to me. A good thing's a good thing. It's like, I can see that you put your effort into it. And we're all in this road together. We're all trying hard. And, maybe some of us don't have to try as hard. Maybe you got that B without trying at all. That's impressive too. But like, if you've worked on something at all, that's impressive, to me. A good thing is a good thing. So, yeah, I don't know. That's my perspective on it. That's the best I can add in that category.
this brings to mind what you were just saying, a little comic strip where it's uh the artist is looking at their cake and looking at a cake next to them that's like really big and beautiful, and he says, "Oh man, that other guy's cake is way better than mine." And then and the panel below, it's um the audience, and they're looking at both of the cakes going, "Oh my gosh, we get 2 cakes."
Yeah, I love that. That is absolutely, that's perfect. That's very realistic. I love that. That's a great, whoever made that comic is brilliant. I love it.
I don't think I've ever seen it with this. Yeah, there's no signature on it.
Mm.
It's been passed around a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the right way to feel, though. You know, it's okay. It's important to criticize yourself so that you can move forward. That's important. It's important to recognize your failures. It's important to recognize where you can get better. Absolutely. But yeah, genuinely, other people are like, "We got 2 cakes. This is great." Who cares about the rest? Yeah, good thing's a good thing. Anyways, thank you guys for being on the show and running a little extra on time. Obviously, we're 13 minutes over, but I guess we started a little late, so it's great to be with you guys. Does anyone have any final thoughts that they wanted to say about the topic before I just close it out? No? Great. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for stepping up to the plate, all of you. Thanks for being with us on the show and adding all of your very valuable input. You guys add a lot, and there's a lot of things, you know, that you guys said that I wouldn't have, and I really think that that's the beauty of doing this show not alone. And it's the beauty of having multiple people on this show, because you get so many different perspectives and so much wisdom added through other people's experience. And yeah, I love this show for that purpose, and it's great to have everybody else in the chat who adds as well. So thank you all for making our lives better and filling our lives with more wisdom and joy and appreciation of each other and all of that.
And that was
Thanks for
great
having us.
practice learning how to accept compliments.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no, I love you guys. I love doing Don't Worry Wednesday with you all, and I'm so happy that you guys could step up to the plate today. I was really happy to see you all. And to hear the wisdom that comes out of your mouth, it's just like, man, these guys are smart. These guys are good. They know what they're talking about. And it makes me really happy to hear that, you know, because it's like these, you know, all of you guys, genuinely, I've known you for a long time. And it's like, it surprises me in a really good way. Not in like, I expected worse. But no, it's like I'm genuinely surprised by like, man, there's so many awesome people in this community. So many awesome people that I'm surrounded by. And you guys are just lovely and brilliant. And so it's really great. And I feel really blessed to know you all. And that includes everybody in the chat.
I guess we learned from the best.
That wasn't me, so it was someone else. So thank them. It wasn't me.
Accept the compliment.
You're amazing. No, you're amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're all amazing.
Yeah, we are all. We are all amazing. I absolutely agree with that. I'm thankful for this show. Thanks, Myonglios.
Sometimes when people like to say know you, I like to respond with like and you, or like know us, to like make it inclusive, like so that instead of reversing it just repeatedly, like trying to exclude one of you, you can just include everyone, because we're all amazing.
Yeah.
And the chat is amazing.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, I like to do that too. That's fun because people. Yeah, I think there's value in just saying, like, taking a compliment and accepting it, and instead of just throwing it back at the other person, and just say, like, we can both share that. We can both share that spotlight. Because We can. There's no reason one of us has to be amazing and the other one can't be, right? It's like we can all be amazing, and that's the truth. So it's really cool. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
like how we're all co-Joes tonight.
Yeah,
There's not one Joe. There's a bunch of us.
Joe has
Joe
multiplied.
hive mind.
We're the
Yeah.
Kojos.
Joe
Kojos.
keeps multiplying.
Yeah. Oh man. Well,
And apparently, I'm the first colored Joe.
yeah, you are the green Joe. No one else. You're the only one. That's so funny. Oh, there's a green Joe. Yeah. Oh, is there a red Joe? No. Is there any other color? Nope. There's just a green Joe.
Fuck Joe.
It's great. Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys. I love you all, and I really appreciate you all being here to support a good cause, which is you. And so, thank you all. I'm gonna go ahead and close this stream now. So, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Love you all. Have a great week.
I don't get why I'm waving. I don't have my camera on.
That's okay. I wave every time I don't have my camera on. So,
Everyone gets a heart.
okay, here's a heart. Boop.
I do it on half the screen.
Oh,
and Haley
you
can
did
do it on
half,
the other
but I
half.
don't have the ability to do the other half.
I think Haley's on the.
Oh, yeah,
No, the
yeah.
other side.
The
Other
other
side. Haley.
side for us.
Other side?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's gonna be it. Yeah, you just have
No, the other
to
side.
Yeah.
connect it
Yeah.
all the way
I see.
over. All the way over. Oh,
Totally.
This is why I was confused by the order.
It
Like,
is-
go in order. I'm like, there's
Oh.
no
Well.
order in this chat room.
Yeah, there's no. All right.
Right there.
It can be done. Once the heart
Perfect.
is fully.
I think.
Oh. Boom! All right, now we can close the stream down. We did it. A victory.
All right.
Victory. All
Good
right.
night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Peace.
Yay!
Bye-bye.